There exists a network so vast and influential that it touches the lives of millions, yet operates largely under the radar. This is the Atlas Network, a global coalition of right-wing think tanks united by a shared belief in free market fundamentalism. From the corridors of power in Washington to the halls of parliament in countries around the world, the Atlas Network's ideas have infiltrated policy debates and shaped government agendas. Its reach extends to every continent, quietly promoting an ideology that prioritizes corporate interests over the well-being of people and the planet. The network's influence is subtle, often operating through seemingly independent think tanks that espouse similar pro-market views. These think tanks, often with innocuous-sounding names, produce research, publish articles, and host events that advance the Atlas Network's agenda. This decentralized structure makes it difficult to track the network's full impact, but its fingerprints are evident in the rise of neoliberal policies across the globe. Understanding the Atlas Network, its origins, its operations, and its goals is crucial for anyone who seeks to comprehend the forces shaping the world today. This network's unwavering commitment to deregulation, privatization, and the shrinking of the public sphere has profound implications for our economies, our societies, and our planet. It is time to shine a light on this shadowy network and expose its agenda to public scrutiny. The seeds of the Atlas Network were sown in the midst of the Cold War, a time of ideological struggle between capitalism and communism. Founded in 1981 by Anthony Fisher, a British poultry magnate and ardent believer in free market economics, the organization, initially known as the Atlas Economic Research Foundation, was created with a clear purpose: to combat socialist and communist ideas by promoting free market principles worldwide. Fisher, inspired by the work of economists like Friedrich Hayek and Milton Friedman, believed that the spread of free markets was essential for achieving prosperity and individual liberty. He saw the battle of ideas as paramount and sought to create a global network of like-minded individuals and organizations dedicated to advancing this cause. The early years of the Atlas Network were marked by a focus on building partnerships with think tanks and individuals in developing countries. These partnerships were often forged with individuals and groups that shared Fisher's anti-communist sentiments, and the network's growth was particularly strong in Latin America, where it aligned itself with groups opposed to left-wing governments. From these humble beginnings, the Atlas Network has grown into a sprawling global operation, boasting over 500 partner organizations in over 90 countries. Its influence has expanded significantly since its founding, and it has become a major force in shaping economic and political discourse on a global scale. At the heart of the Atlas Network's worldview lies an unwavering belief in the power of unfettered markets. Its ideology, rooted in the principles of neoliberalism, posits that the free market, unhindered by government regulation, is the most efficient and just way to allocate resources and promote economic growth. This core belief informs the network's policy positions on a wide range of issues, from healthcare and education to environmental protection and labor rights. Atlas Network partners consistently advocate for policies that reduce the role of government in the economy, such as deregulation, privatization, and tax cuts. They argue that these policies unleash entrepreneurial spirit, attract foreign investment, and ultimately benefit all members of society. Critics, however, contend that these policies often lead to increased inequality, environmental degradation, and a decline in public services. The network's emphasis on individual liberty is closely tied to its economic views. Atlas Network partners often frame their arguments in terms of freedom of choice and individual responsibility. They argue that government intervention infringes on individual liberty, and that individuals should be free to make their own choices, even if those choices lead to unequal outcomes. This emphasis on individual freedom, however, often overlooks the systemic barriers and inequalities that limit the choices available to many people. Section 4. Weaving influence through think tanks. The Atlas Network's strength lies not in its centralized structure, but in its ability to empower and connect a diverse network of think tanks and individuals around the world. These think tanks, often operating under names that give no indication of their affiliation with Atlas, serve as the network's foot soldiers, disseminating its ideas and influencing policy debates at the national and international levels. These think tanks employ a variety of tactics to promote the Atlas Network's agenda. They produce research reports that often present a skewed view of the evidence, favoring free market solutions over government intervention. They publish articles and opinion pieces in newspapers and magazines, shaping public opinion and influencing policymakers. They host conferences and events, providing platforms for like-minded individuals to network and share ideas. This decentralized structure allows the Atlas Network to operate with a degree of anonymity and plausible deniability. When challenged, its partners can claim to be independent organizations simply promoting sound economic policies. This makes it difficult to hold the network accountable for its actions and allows it to exert influence without facing the same level of scrutiny as more traditional political actors. Section 5. The Power of Money Funding Atlas. The Atlas Network's ability to operate on a global scale and exert influence in so many countries is underpinned by a robust financial structure. While the network itself is a non-profit organization, it receives funding from a variety of sources, including foundations, corporations, and wealthy individuals, many of whom have a vested interest in promoting the policies it advocates. Among the network's most significant funders are prominent conservative foundations such as the Koch brothers network, the Scaife foundations, and the Bradley Foundation. These foundations have poured millions of dollars into supporting Atlas Network partners, enabling them to expand their operations, hire staff, and amplify their message. In addition to foundation funding, the Atlas Network also receives support from corporations that stand to benefit from its policy agenda. These corporations often see their financial contributions as an investment, anticipating that the policies promoted by Atlas Network partners will lead to lower taxes, deregulation, and a more favorable business environment. The network's reliance on funding from wealthy individuals, corporations, and ideologically aligned foundations raises concerns about transparency and potential conflicts of interest. Critics argue that this funding structure gives undue influence to special interests and undermines the legitimacy of the network's claims to be promoting sound economic policies in the public interest.